whole point of us having a World Cup in a country like America, which loves cricket almost as much as India loves baseball, was to try and promote the sport. If I'm an ordinary American and I had to sit through this, I would just go back to watching baseball in the evening. What have we just witnessed? We've gone from one extreme to the other. We went from 288 to struggling to make 80 runs.
We went from Shashwat almost expecting 300 runs to there being 157 runs being scored at the loss of 14 wickets with the highest score of 20 across 2 innings.
20 of a strike rate of 74.
What did we just witness? We witnessed the most attritional T20 chase ever, perhaps.
And there's no difference to net run rate, by the way, after this match.
Yeah, actually, it won't make much of a difference.
And before, again, we don't sound like, trolls over here, so don't get us wrong. And we'll get to you how much of it is really down to the teams and how much of it is down to the pitch. That I think calls for a big point of discussion. But just to get things started off here on Sports Today, if you're joining us right now, let's tell you what exactly happened over here in case you missed out. Firstly, you didn't miss out on a good game of cricket because it wasn't one. What happened was South Africa, after being asked to bowl first, were happy doing so on this rather unknown pitch in New York, where Sri Lanka decided to bat first and managed to put up only a total of 77 runs. 77 runs is all that they managed. Andrik Nokia with 4 wickets. You thought that this was going to be an easy chase. We had predictions over here where again we were wrong in terms of a prediction, because first innings we thought the predictions for the scores went something around 130 to all the way
180
all the way to 180 as well. Yeah. We were in that range, but we were only about 100 runs off a couple of us.
All of us.
Yeah, I was the closest in those
two. About 60 runs away or something.
But my prediction was terribly wrong in the second innings.
So we decided, okay, we're not going to do, because it's clear which team's winning. The other thing that we did at the halfway stage was, okay, let's try and predict how quick this run chase can South Africa get to, or this target that they can get to. I remember going with 7, Shashwat with the power play 6.
I said 8 overs, they took double that much time.
8,
and it took just about another 20 balls being left in this match for South Africa to get to 78 runs.
And listen, if one team struggles, it's them shooting themselves in the foot.
Yes.
If 2 teams have struggled, especially one team that knows they only have to score 78 or 79 runs to win the match, then there is something seriously wrong with this pitch.
To add to that, we talked about there being, players who can play at a blistering rate in the South African side. We were all going gaga over them. I in particular remember talking about a Tristan Stubbs who operated at a strike rate of close to 300, as I pointed out, in the death overs, only having faced 2 dot balls in the whole of the IPL that he played. He ends up on a strike rate of 46, 13 runs of 28 for Tristan Stubbs.
At one point, he was 5 runs of 16 balls. I had to check and see they didn't mess up the graphics, and it wasn't 16 runs of 5 balls. But I was wrong. It was 5 of 16.
So in case, and in hindsight, actually, if you see, it's just because there is greater familiarity with the two teams and the players representing them that we were all sort of glued to the screens for this match. Actually, want to be eating your words if you thought that USA Canada would be that dud of a game. It turned out to be more of a contest, and then Namibia Oman.
It's very ironic that the 2 games prior to this that have happened with the associate nations have actually been far more thrilling. You got a high scoring thriller.
Even West Indies PNG.
Actually, of the 4 games, West Indies PNG absolute thriller. USA versus Canada, high scoring thriller. Namibia Oman, low scoring thriller. This was just low scoring.
It could have been a thriller if they got 10-20 runs more.
Oh, never mind that. It would have been a thriller if I think South Africa were like 7 down.
Yeah.
Then we'd really hoped, thinking there is no way South Africa can choke here, and they may very well have.
And then chasing would have definitely been a problem for them.
I remember, I think, pinpointing this to Harshit upstairs, I think during the 9th over, Novan Tushara was bowling and it was still swinging.
Yeah. But plenty to talk about, because of course there's not a lot to talk about in terms of batting. As I said, 20 runs being the highest that you saw from this 14 wickets that fell. The highest that you saw was 20 runs from both the teams that we saw bat here in New York. it leaves us, and truth
But
be
you know
told,
another really good stat. This is a T20I game that has featured 2 maiden overs
Yeah.
in the entire game. That's 1 in every innings. Oh my goodness, a maiden over. We talk about
my captain Kira.
he's missing his captain.
so look at what we saw. Look at the major takeaways. We've seen, as Shane points out, we've seen 2 maiden overs, which is a rarity. We saw the lowest score in a power play in the power play in a T20 World Cup. We saw Sri Lanka register their lowest T20I total ever. Thrilling game, guys. Thrilling game.
All the wrong records that could have possibly been broken have been broken.
No, but I'm really very confused at why is the pitch actually behaving the way it is. I would like to know from all of you. See, swing I do understand to an extent because the stadium is open.
Yeah,
and
aerial
the wind,
conditions, you
yeah,
let that
that
be.
I do understand
fact
it. Why is
that-
the ball actually swinging for 9 overs? Apart from that, the wicket, if you by the look of it, it doesn't look like a wicket that it's going to be this bad and with such uneven mounts. You can literally see, you call that ball na surra ball. It's exactly that. It's that ball that
Zips.
it doesn't rise after the bounce. It just keeps on going from there.
Yeah. It's basically when
Yeah.
you expect it to bounce here,
Yeah,
but it just
keeps on.
through.
Yeah, shoots through
Shooter.
you're expecting some bounce. That's exactly the last review they took. That was that sort of a delivery.
It's still really low.
So I really
But again, when 20 runs is the highest that you see from the 2 innings, 157 is all.
Well.
Then it takes close to 100. How many? You looked at over 200 deliveries being bowled for just 157 runs. It points, and both teams cannot, and both sets of batters cannot be having such a horrible day. That too, when you have the kind of talent that was on display today.
Right.
There has to be something wrong, and the one common factor was obviously the playing conditions, as Shashwat points out. The pitch,
The
is
dropping
that now a
pitches.
concern? It's the same venue that India have already played. Is the same venue where India will be playing 3 more matches.
And it's one of the, I think, other stripes that was used for this game, because I'm pretty much sure that the one that was used for India was a lot better than
Much
this.
better than
the
this.
only thing that is, I think, pretty common in between the 2 matches was that there was enough swing for the pace bowler.
and there was stickiness in both these wickets. Even that wicket was pretty sticky. Even I felt even this one was a little
This
sticky.
one I thought was sticky here.
One of the
because
things-
the bounce is
Yeah.
uneven.
That was also
One of the things that really in a way disappoints me is that it's not really a good spectacle for the fans. That's the point.
All 10 of them over in the ground, you mean?
Yeah.
that too
That
after
is,
people
by
have
the way,
actually
going
watched.
forward, unless there's India playing, you'll have probably 5 now turn up. And those 5 could just be the security personnel, as were the memes doing the rounds that there are more security personnel than fans for this particular match.
In fact, by the way, it's interesting. Rahul Dravid, even in his, he was addressing the media earlier, and he said that it's so different being here because normally when you're in any country and there's a World Cup going on, you see a lot of hype. Obviously, it's a little different here because it's not a popular sport in the USA. And he was trying to be nice about it, but I mean his feelings came.
See, the one thing Indian cricketers would be really relieved.
Yeah,
that's what I was
Don't get
about
to
to
be in
say.
the limelight.
Yeah.
They can have that stroll in the evening. They can go out, do their sabzi shopping, normal shopping, whatever that they want to do. Because so many of the cricketers talk about these daily chores that they aren't able to do when in India or certain other parts of the world. USA is probably that one place to which they are alien as people. Otherwise, anywhere that they go, they're superstars.
Yeah.
But I think the point that I made about not being a good spectacle for the fans, I think it's not just about seeing those high scoring matches wherein a team is plundering 250 or maybe 260 odd runs. That should not be the case. I think it's about having competitive matches wherein a score of 160 or 170 looks like a match winning score, but then the team batting in the second innings goes on to maybe pull off a blinder or completes a thrilling chase or something like that. Haven't really seen in this case. I expected Sri Lanka, after winning the toss, to at least maybe put on a good total, like we all predicted, in between 140 and 180. Going by what happened, I think 120 would have been a very good score. The same thing I was telling to Shashwat also.
120 would have been a winning score.
Yeah,
I think,
actually,
over here.
it would have been a winning score. So I think we can talk about multiple facts relating to the pitch, but I think Sri Lankan batters have themselves to blame here also, because they are, when they knew or when they found out that the pitch is not going to be easy to score runs, and once again, you know, I would go back to that point of that I made in KKR SRH final, that when you have lost initial wickets, why cannot one batter just play that anchor role? This was missing.
Or
That's
was
once
it the
again
case?
point.
Was it the case? I'm just going back, albeit different formats, but since South Africa are playing over here, I'm just going back. I think it was the second Test match, India South Africa earlier this
That
year.
1.5 day test.
Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
The shortest test
exactly,
match,
the
right?
shortest Test match. And you remember, of course, the pitch was extremely mischievous.
Yeah.
The pitch had more than one demon in it, and that's why you saw what you saw. Now, what is the approach that you saw from the Indian team then? The target that they were chasing wasn't that much, but were the Sri Lankans, and this comes, you know, and this question then comes to my mind, were the Sri Lankans then quick to realize, boss, this is a pitch that can do anything, it's very, very mischievous, it's very naughty, you don't know, there's no point hanging in there. Did you guys get that feeling, or as Siddharth says, that probably it was just bad batting?
No, I don't think they got that feeling. I
It's
think
a combination of both, basically.
But I think with them it was more a case of, oh, it's just behaving trickily now. Let's put the pressure back on South Africa.
Yes.
The problem was they never really came that point where they could put the pressure back because the pitch didn't allow them to, and this is where one of them should have looked. I mean, you go back, and the stupidest shot, by the way, of the day was played by the captain.
Shanaka?
Oh, Vanindu.
Vanindu.
Wait, charged down.
Shanaka, yaar, I felt.
Now Shanaka was just
Shanaka
as bad. But Vanindu, in the situation that he came into bat at number 4. If he had to consolidate and get even a run of all 30, you know, would have made a big difference. Would have made a very big difference. And this is the kind of pitch where you had to play that. It wasn't a pitch that you were going to be scoring at a 140 strike rate or 150 strike rate at all. And at that point, you kind of figure out, okay, fine, you lost, no problem, even if you ended up losing. But because this is just the first group stage game and you will have much weaker opposition.
Yeah.
That being said, I'll absolve both set of batters really from a lot of this thing, because in a T20 game, you expect at the very least, let's say, true bounce.
Yes.
You got none of that, and this is where I say, you know, at times I don't like making pitches that often skew the context.
Yes.
I hated those 280 pitches that you were getting in the IPL because it just made no sense. The bowlers were lambs to slaughter. You may as well have just put bowling machines there.
one thing-
But this you've skewed the other way.
I think these are
One thing I
really
would say is, while you do always, and I am in complete concurrence with you, that you need that balance to be there so that it feels like an even contest. But from the point of view of it being something being there in it for the spectators also, especially if you're trying to take this sport globalize it, you needed runs.
Yeah,
I'll be honest about that. You need
a 180 wicket.
You need at least you need something between at least about 175 to about a 210. You need a couple of those matches to be in excess of 200 also. I'll tell you why. Because if you want this to be an advertisement of the sport, then from a spectacle point of view, this is a nation that feeds off baseball. Remember, they like the ball reaching the stands.
But
now,
not just baseball.
If it's not going to get that, if the crowds over there aren't going to get that, and they're only going to see, you know, swing, they won't understand the concept of swing. They won't understand what it is, you know, for the ball to skid and all. They want the ball to be reaching the stands as well. Now, that's not to say that you end up going the other extreme and give 250 tracks. We've had that enough of in the IPL. If you want there to be a fair advertisement of the sport, you needed the wickets to be far more sporting. This is not a sporting wicket.
So basically,
this is by no means a sporting wicket.
Have ICC just going by this match?
This is a poor rating pitch, by the way.
Yeah. Going by, you know, how this pitch played out, what do you think, that have ICC failed to score a home run?
Yes, they have.
Definitely, I in general also feel like the how they have been ready for this World Cup isn't up to the mark. We also remember 3-4 months back, nobody knew how, when and how the
100
stadium
days
would be.
they put
100
together
days,
the stadium,
exactly.
100 days.
And apart from that, also all the training facilities and everything, you can clearly. I was just seeing the visuals of the Indian team practicing. It looks like a county game or a game.
It's actually a park.
Yeah, exactly. Where we are going to play on a Sunday. Those grounds are better maintained.
See, but Shashwat, you will not be able to get those kind of conditions. Yeah, you can't. It's not a mainstream sport in America, so you're never going to get those kind of conditions. That every team and their dog that was flying there knew they would have to make that adjustment. The point was, the one thing that was in your control was the pitch. Unfortunately, this also shows you the let's say poor side, the other side of actually preparing these drop-ins. I have often noticed that drop-ins, even in places like US and Australia, New Zealand, who have actually made it almost an art form of
Yes.
getting drop-ins because their stadiums are multi-sport stadiums. You'll have rugby and everything take place. Even though there, they have mastered the art, but even there at times they'll get it wrong. You will either get the flattest of roads,
Or the other extreme.
you'll end up getting one that can be dodgy to play on. And that's what's happened here. This is a pitch that's come. Remember, the start of it was at Adelaide and it was finished off in New York. It wasn't a pitch that was doing anything. I mean, if I'm a bowler, this is a dream of a pitch
Exactly.
because all I know is I have to keep pitching it up there.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter.
you
I'll get
go,
zoned
do you
out.
think-
ball at the
the-
stumps. That's all you need to do. Forget anything.
Exactly.
The conditions, the pitch, the air, everything takes care of itself.
How
man.
many edges did South Africa batters get? I think had they carried on to Kusal Mendes, things could have been different.
Oh, absolutely. They
No,
were
but-
all riding their luck. Yes, Shivam, you want to say something?
No, but do you think that it was a gamble by the ICC to actually get in drop-in pitches so that they thought that this might turn out
I
as
think this was
proper
the,
roads?
this was
But
the
that's
only
exactly
way.
not happened.
But this was the only way
Yeah.
that they had to, they could conduct the tournament. This was possibly the only way because in West Indies, everything is pretty much sorted with respect to the grounds of the stadiums, as we say. But in USA, you really needed that intervention from the ICC to get the grounds ready. And that's why I think I even read an article where it was written that ICC actually moved the earth to make sure that I think the
Nassau County.
tournament is conducted in the USA.
And see, that's part of the issue is that you've now ended up scoring an own goal. You pushed very hard to have it here. You don't have any local crowds coming. You've used the star power of every single person possible, but the turnout is minimal.
There was
You'll
a
get turnout in
Usain
India,
Bolt
right?
who did the trophy unveiling. I remember. There's been a Yuvraj Singh. The Pontings of the world are there. The Yuvrajs
Gales.
are there. The Gales are there. They're all there in terms of Starcast, and you kept the two trophies together, the NFL trophy and the World Cup trophy. You tried taking it, but the thing is, it's really backfired. I feel the drop-in pitches have really done to ICC what would have been their worst daydream.
And see, you have to remember one thing with Americans, a lot of their sports are very high scoring for one reason. For years, they've always wanted to capture mass interest, so they've kept the sports more often than not as high scoring and as simplistic as possible.
Yes.
In a sport like football, I'm talking about American football, a touchdown. is
Soccer.
what- No. Soccer is our sport, Baba.
You're talking about
American
football. my bad.
Yeah, NFL.
Yeah.
So NFL, a touchdown is worth about 7 points. Okay. In basketball, one of the most popular sports you have the concept of 2 points and 3 points, so which kind of spices up the game. So all of these things, I mean, they are trying, and the best thing would have been for them to have a high scoring game. You can
I think
take that.
in the midst of terming T20 as a complete slam bang cricket, or the game has evolved, the game has modernized.
This is
I
the
think
mainstream.
I think we have probably forgotten that they can still be an anchor in T20s. It's still possible.
There is
It's
no anchor
still
now.
possible to be, hold on to one end and make sure that your team probably gets to around 120, 130 when you know that there's a chance that you could get bundled out for 90 or 100. So I feel that it's probably forgotten.
Yeah, it is. But I mean, see, in a game like this or in the circumstances, you wanted high scoring. You didn't get that. You got the exact opposite.
And you were actually expecting that, and you were waiting that, and you were moving towards that.
And you didn't.
Exactly. You've
But
come
anyway,
10 steps back.
If you had to, let's just put it this way. One quick thing from all of y'all
Yeah.
before we get to the questions. If you have to rate this pitch, what are you giving?
I'm rating it poor.
Actually, below average rating. Very below average.
Below average,
Yeah.
same. I'm going with a below average.
I'd say poor too.
So it's just, it
wasn't even contest. Simple as that. It was not even contest. We have to admit that.
absolutely not. Anyway, let's hear what is it that some of our fans have to say. Shubham, stop scribbling on the board.
Yeah.
I don't quite know what's going on there. Uday Kapoor sent us some love first, then retracted the message, and then afterwards sent the full message.
Yeah, should have had matches in Florida instead, yeah.
I mean, Uday, there are matches in Florida, but I think they wanted a second venue. So, see, this is the reason, and this is really where interesting, geopolitics also comes into play. Yeah. One of the venues they wanted was Los Angeles.
Yeah.
But the only reason they chose not to go to Los Angeles is because Los Angeles being on the west coast on the west coast would mean a 12-hour time difference for Indian fans, which meant that if you have to have showing the match at 8 p.m. for India, it had to be starting at 8 a.m. in America, which meant no chance it is in fact happening this way. Anyway,
But do you also, just before we get to the questions, one last thing, do you think that because we are getting to see day matches as per their timings, that is also playing a role as far as the wickets are concerned? Because if this game we would have seen at 8 p.m. their local time, then I think the situation could have been better.
110%.
But again, if you
pretty much depends upon the conditions also. Like, if there is dew, you never know, this total would have been
exactly,
more.
and I also think if you need, the ICC needed to decide if during this World Cup the target is the people they want to attract audience from the US or USA, or it's for the Indians.
Maximum audience that you
you can't get
possibly
that.
get is from the Asian region only.
That's why you're having day games there.
Yeah. And that's why I think, if I'm not wrong, the final is at 7:30 p.m.
Correct.
7:30 or 8 p.m.
See, most India matches, all India matches in
Are
fact
at
are
8
either
PM.
starting at 7:30 or 8 p.m.
Yeah.
regardless of where they're playing.
Yeah.
For the simple reason, of course, you've got to cater the audience
Yeah.
back home first.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
otherwise, if they were to have these matches at night, it'd be too early in the morning.
The only people who would be watching would be us.
Yes.
No, in India-Pakistan game, everyone would have watched.
People, Shashwat, will still go to work. Yes, of course, they'll
Yeah.
probably be playing, but
Not everyone is like us.
Yeah.
But our work
Yeah.
is this.
yes, numbers will definitely take a beating.
Oh, they'll take a big time hammering.
Freaking Awesome has a comment that South Africa is the only top side never to be bowled out below 100 in the T20 World Cup. Okay. Among top sides, Australia is the only team never reached 200 in the T20 World Cup.
That stat was more interesting than our match.
When did India get bowled out for under 100 in T20 World Cup? I'm not sure if I remember any of the instances.
That's interesting actually.
Yeah. And even in case of Australia also, I'm not sure, if I remember any instance. It could be, but I think with respect to India, if there would have been an instance, we would have definitely known about it. We would have been definitely aware about
Yeah.
it.
Anyhow, in case it's
Not
not
sure,
crossing our mind right now, you can maybe let us know. Freaking Awesome in the comments.
Yeah.
Yes,
Vansh Jain says that this is the most boring. This is the first boring match of the World Cup. I agree. We're not being sadist, Vansh. We hated every second of it along with you. I can promise you, this was not something that was on my bucket list for today, as far as watching matches should go. Manju says that, do you think these kind of pitches can bring a new audience to cricket, especially American audiences? Manju, you're right. It won't.
It will dissuade them.
Further, as it is, they must be wondering, what is this cricket?
Yeah.
On top of that, if you have to put them, show one of them this match, they'll be like, boss, never mind, I'll go watch NASCAR instead.
Yeah.
And in fact, Manju also says, imagine American audience watching this match. Thumbs down. Again, nothing more to add. Is there any more comments? Let's just take a couple more.
I think Asad's comment, I think, ridiculous decision to play USA and those drop-in pitches. It's like first morning of day one. Even if even you play cricket in the White House, it cannot be considered a worldwide game. This is a 10
Countries game. So basically, he's saying that you're trying to take it worldwide, bit of a fool's paradise. It's a 10 countries game. Let's just treat it as that.
Yeah, if proper nations, if recognized nations are finding it hard, full members of the ICC are finding it hard to adjust to these conditions, you know, my heart goes out to the likes of Oman, Namibia, Nepal. If they were to play here, their batters would be like, please, can we go back home?
There's one really good comment there from Karanbir Singh, who says that India took KL Rahul to 2 T20 World Cups, so he wanted 200 strike rate players, and now they left him from the team when you need someone to score 135.
But I still feel that it's again too soon to actually judge this wicket, because we have just seen one game, another game it was completely different. I still cannot believe that this is going to be the same wicket which we will be seeing in India-Pakistan.
But Shashwat, it is a matter of thought and concern, because you saw that warm-up match as well.
Yeah.
And the bounce there also wasn't consistent always. It wasn't this bad, but it was slightly up and down.
Spongy.
Yeah.
Piyush Nandre says next World Cup should be in Russia and then after that in China. Piyush, you probably won't.
China, we saw the.
Okay,
Oh yeah,
we
please.
have an
Let's keep the
interesting
game away from
comment.
China as well.
We have an interesting comment from All Round Entertainment that I enjoy this type of matches more. Had South Africa lost 2 more wickets,
then
then
it would have
I
been
probably
really
would have
interesting.
said, okay, this was
But I
somewhat
think
interesting.
all-round entertainment is in the minority of a minority over here, I feel.
Then this World Cup is for
All round entertainment. Absolutely. Go all the way down. We'll take 1-2 more. Mayank Madan is saying, why did they not split 2-2 games between Dallas and Florida? South Africa was aware of the pitch in the second innings. No, you're right about that, but I think, see, the places you're mentioning, Dallas and all, again, Dallas comes more towards, I think there would have been time difference issues.
And so Ken Awesome, I think he confirms this, that India were bowled out for 79 against New Zealand in 2016. Actually, I thought that India's, lowest score was 105 or 10, which was scored against New Zealand in 2021. So I actually literally forgot this number.
2016 was Nagpur, right?
Yeah, this was Nagpur.
East OD and Mitchell Johnson.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Thank you for that.
And that was the match where Kane Williamson stunned everyone, but I think he rested or dropped Trent Bolt and Tim Southey.
Yes.
People were like, what is he doing? But one masterstroke it proved to be indeed. Priyanshu says that there's uneven bounce, sticky swing, turn. What's worse is someone plays a technically correct cover drive. The outfield is so bad it'll get you only one.
Yeah.
Play Jaiswal and bat Virat at 3, it's a lottery. I agree. Tom Riddle, by the way, nice of you to join us, says that
Harry Potter fan.
Yeah, instead of taking it to new countries, they should have made sure to make it relevant in countries like South Africa. I mean, yeah, that's a good point.
I think, it has two sides to it, because you want to make sure that cricket globalizes, and that's why I think a lot of these playing nations are getting that associate tag, or maybe they are actually getting some kind of a funding. So, and even there is this case of including cricket in Olympics, which we are going to see in 2028, obviously. So, but I think it's not really going to help much in 2028, because if there are just going to be 6 nations who are going to be competing for top 3 medals,
it'll help India. We'll get one guaranteed gold.
But that's a different.
Again, that's
not guaranteed.
Yeah, we are not guaranteed a gold.
So I think it's a little.
There also Australia will be like, hold my.
Silence. Okay.
Fick Monk with the comment of the night saying, this is a demotion of cricket. Yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, if you're talking about showcasing the spectacle, this is a perfect test match. Actually, it's not even a good test match, okay? Because there are nothing in it for the match.
Imagine if you were bowling as a bowler with a red cherry in your hand.
This would have been Cape Town or Centurion 2.0.
Centurion
1.5 days, test match, done, dusted, khatam, tata, bye bye.
Khatam khalas, finish.
Yeah. Anyhow, we will take your leave because, I mean, not a lot to talk about in this match. Really?
I don't know. The only thing more exciting is what Shashwat did over those last 3.5 months of recovery.
I did absolutely nothing. I was on my bed. I was updated with sports today. I was lucky enough. The only thing that I was lucky enough was that my injury coincided with the IPL. So I didn't come to know when the time actually passed. So I was lucky in those terms, if I was lucky at all.
You know what I thought he was going to say? I am lucky it coincided with the IPL because I missed like the busiest time.
No. I had something to look forward to every evening. That's only that I was lucky enough to coincide with.
There's nothing more exciting. If I can then just, if you're looking for exciting stuff, because Siddharth's been around for about a week now, we can just ask him how his first week over here has been like. Because besides that, I don't think we can talk about cricket tonight. Because
I'm on camera, I cannot say anything unfiltered. So, yeah, it's been good, and I can basically give you a transcript of the press conferences that I usually have players give nowadays. It's been good. I'm loving it here, and I look forward to having a good association with the team, and it's just about trusting the process and making sure I get the job done.
Nothing more to add. In the words
speaking of press conferences,
Shirom is a very good producer.
Yeah.
Deep down, I don't know what I think about him, but yeah.
Anyhow, speaking of press conferences,
things are now getting out of hand here, I see.
It's like cricket, so not a roast.
Yeah.
Roasting is done off camera.
Yeah, roasting can be done off camera, but because the word press conferences was mentioned, there is a Rahul Dravid press conference which happened a short while back, and there is a big takeaway from there.
Yeah, I'll be bringing you those. Just stay tuned. Few more minutes. I mean, you guys stayed up so late for the match. I promise you, my press conference video will be more interesting. Stay tuned.
Bye-bye, tada, nandri.
Good night.
Vanakkam, Shubhratri, Shabha Khair.
Subscribe, like, eat your vegetables, stay hydrated, don't trouble your mother.
Tada.
That was my line. I was going to say that. You just said it before me now.
Yeah. Vanakkam.